Welcome, everybody. It is Friday, December 23rd, 2022. This is Real Estate Talk TGIF. As you can see, it is episode 237. That's 234 weeks in a row, Jay. I don't know if you know that's a long time. That's 4.5 years, almost 4.5 years.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so we've been doing this every week. We missed one Friday, and that was because I had food poisoning. So we did it the next day. So anyway, and truth be told, I have not felt well some of these. But anyway, today is a great day. It's 2 days before Christmas. We're, I believe, in the middle of a Hanukkah. Kwanzaa's coming up. So it's this great holiday season, so much joy and stuff. And Jason Daniels and I have had the pleasure of becoming quick friends through a program we're doing together. And Jason is from Colorado. Hey, Jay, we're going to talk about you, your business, where you came from in just a few minutes. And everybody, stay tuned for Real Estate Talk TGIF. Real estate agents, are you looking to acquire clients consistently to grow your business and income for a great lifestyle? Well, this is Dave Finale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and the Modern Agent team. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is Real Estate Talk TGIF, episode 237 with Jason Daniels. And Jason, you started out in construction management. You know, you started remodeling homes with your dad. You got into business with your dad, and you know, really built your business from the ground up, building a new database, right? And you've gotten to sell over 2,000 homes, 2,100 homes in the last number of years. So before I ask you to elaborate on your story, I do have one question. I start off with everybody on this broadcast, and the question is, what does TGIF stand for?
Thank goodness it's Friday, right? I guess. I don't know.
You're really close, Jay. You're really close, and not many people do get this. I'd say about 10% get it. It's thank God it's finale. That's correct. Yep. Thank God it's me. Right. So
there you
go. Remember that every time you say TGIF from now on, you remember this broadcast and me. So
Dave's bringing us into the weekend.
What's that?
Dave's bringing us into the weekend.
That's right. We're bringing it here the weekend. So here's the thing, guys. So we got Jason Daniels, Jason Finch and Gable out in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Tell me about your story. I mean, you got into the business for a lot of different reasons, you know, probably the same way as some do, but not many. So talk to me about that. Tell me your story.
Yeah. So it started out when I was a kid. My father started out as an auto mechanic, but he was intrigued by real estate at a young age. So he went to some of those courses that, now you can go online and buy, but back then they were in hotels and they travel across the United States. And he ended up finding a couple of residential homes to purchase to start investing in real estate. And when I remember as young as 4 or 5 years old, he'd be dragging me around with a paintbrush and a bucket, and we'd be touching up paint when the tenants moved out. So started out at a young age, kind of understanding the value of investment properties a little bit when I look back at it now. Eventually he got into car sales, thought, well, he met someone that was selling cars that used to sell real estate, and his friend talked him into getting into real estate in 1992. And from there, our lifestyle changed as kids. I'm like, wow, this is a pretty good career. However, he was always on his cell phone. And so I thought, I'm never going to get into that business because it's just 24/7 on. So I took a little bit different path, and obviously I came back to it. But I decided to go to college, taking education on civil engineering. I did that for a year. Talked to a professor at the end of that first year after about 42 credit hours, and said, "What am I going to be doing as an engineer?" He said, "Well, for the first 5 years, you're going to be in a cubicle on AutoCAD, crunching numbers and math." And I thought, "Gosh, that's just not me. I'm more of a people person." So sat down and talked with him. He said, "Well, if you transfer into construction management, you've already passed all the hard math courses. It'll really just be business courses and project management style." So long story short, I got a degree in construction management. During those years, my dad started flipping homes before they even called it flipping homes back in the 90s. I was about 2.5 hours away. I'd drive down on the weekends and I'd be flipping homes with him. So I was still doing that while I was going to college. I got a job framing homes for a large tract home builder near Colorado State in Fort Collins, where I was going to school. So Had that while I was finishing my education. And then I teamed up with actually a real estate agent in Fort Collins who would flip old homes in Fort Collins. He wouldn't buy anything newer than 1950. So he taught me some really cool hands-on, how to keep the integrity of the 1920s, 30s, and 40s in these homes. So I got to watch him. He was a licensed real estate agent and flipping homes as well. So that kind of left a mark on me. And I thought, wow, that might be kind of cool. So I graduated. I did an internship with a large billion-dollar commercial construction company, Hensel Phelps. They're all over the United States. I think they're in other countries now too. Decided I didn't really want to move the family around. I already was married and had 2 children when I graduated college. And well, one child, the other one was on the way. So I found a company in Denver, Colorado, Miller Lite Construction, who had kind of the similar values. So I worked there for 2 years. In the last project I was on before I left there was a 41-unit luxury loft building. It was an old warehouse converted. And so that was kind of really neat. I met the realtor there,
Right.
and she had the listing for 41 luxury units in downtown Denver. And she drove in with a brand new BMW. This was in '99. It was on sale for $95,000. And I just thought, oh my gosh, if she can do that. I looked at like, that's more than double my salary. And she just paid that for a car. So I started thinking, gosh, maybe I need to look at this real estate thing again. So I was working 6 days a week. My superintendent and boss said, you need to come in on Sundays and work 7 days a week. And that's kind of when I drew the line in the sand. I said, I'm not doing that. So I called my dad and he said, move your family back down to Colorado Springs and I'll teach you the business. And, you've put your time in, you've got your degree, you've got 2 years of experience. So for some reason, if real estate doesn't work out, you can always do construction and, start your own construction company. So that's how it all started. And, I could continue with the story up to today if you like, or if you have any specific questions. But
so you started in '03. Did you have any business when you started? And how long did it take you to do business?
Yeah. So I had a personal challenge in my life. When I moved, we sold our home in Denver, moved down to Colorado Springs, and my wife decided she didn't want to be married or be a mom anymore. So I became a single father of 2 little boys. I just quit my corporate job with all my benefits and found myself in an interesting predicament. So my dad at the time had purchased a couple homes to flip, and he said, okay, here's I can help you out this way. For $15 an hour, you're going to do the labor on these homes from 6 a.m. to about noon or 1. And then go home, get cleaned up, come into the office around 1:30 or 2, and I'll teach you real estate from 2 to 7 p.m. So that's what I did for about 6 months, from about May till November. And the last flip I think we completed and sold in August. So I literally was only in real estate full time from about middle of August, first part of September. And I was knocking doors, I was handing out flyers, I was building a database. My first, I think it was the first day I went out door knocking, it was like the 12th door I knocked. I ended up getting a listing and a buyer. And that was kind of interesting. Also started building a personal database I had to reconnect with people. I had referred business to my dad over the years when I was in high school or college. And he said, well, anyone in my database is still my database. So you've got to start from scratch. And I thought, what the heck? But to this day, I actually thank him for that because it helped me just dig in and I had to be successful. I had 2 little kids depending on me, 18 months and a 4-year-old. And I wasn't going to go back to working for someone else and being an employee. And so,
so what did you do now? You had nothing. You didn't have an SOI, you didn't have anything. You had to start from scratch. What was the thing that you did that was probably the most important when you built your business?
So the most important thing that actually I teach this to my agents now, because it's old school, but as you know, Dave, I'm sure you teach that, it's the principles of the business that stand the test of time. It's the activities and the actions. And so what I did was I just started interacting with people at church, people, that I knew in the community. And I would literally take them to coffee, take them to lunch,
right?
Begin just relationship building. And as we go into 2023, I'm teaching your agents right now, the business has shifted. The tide has come down, right? The whole saying is when the tide comes down, you can see who's out there waiting without pants. Well, now it's a true professional market where we need to be building relationships. And so I learned that early on because my father was pretty successful in his first year of real estate. He sold over 43 homes. He leveraged relationships from his previous career. And so he taught me the value of just building the relationship and, treating your people like friends and providing value when they, hey, what you want me, I can tell you what your home is worth, or, just staying in touch with them. And so slowly I built my database up over time, and I got involved with the Buffini organization and started kind of, coaching with them and really put a system in place to actually systematize it. So over time, that became a really nice repeatable source of business. It took about 3 to 5 years to really, 3 years, I started getting some nice repeat referrals. And at 5 years, it was pretty automatic. So that's how I started with that process while I was working with my dad. But there was at some point, I decided I wanted to kind of go out on my own.
Right. So in other words, what you did was you just like built a sphere of influence from zero.
From zero. I had to start all over again because I hadn't lived in Colorado Springs while I was going to college for 5 or 6 years. A lot of people I knew that I went to school with had moved away from Colorado Springs. The few people that I knew that I had done business with my dad were his sphere. So I had to start over. And so it was a challenge. It was almost like if I dropped into a new city and didn't know anybody.
Exactly, which is why I said it the way I did. So the importance of being able to be resourceful and to go out. You also did other work as far as, you just didn't worry about building a database. You had to build that database. So what was the process of building that database?
Well, I would, like I said, I would meet with people and, I would ask them, hey, do you have a realtor that you already work with? So if you were to come across a friend or family member that needed to purchase a home here in Colorado Springs, do you have a go-to agent? And gosh, I would say probably more than half the time they'd say, well, no, I don't. And I would say, well, can I be that agent? And then I would literally just follow up with them once a month. I'd write them a little handwritten note. I'd call them. I would maybe do a little pop by with a little gift, just like, something to remind them, hey, I'm in the business. And that, that was a long-term play. But all while I was building up the sphere, I was also door knocking, cold calling. Nobody likes to do that, but I didn't have a choice. I'd come home and I'm looking at my 2 boys going, I'm responsible for these 2 human beings right now. And I got to show them that dad can take care of business. And so they were long days. I'd put the kids to bed and I'd be sending emails, writing handwritten notes. Sometimes I'd be so tired, I'd get home, I'd feed them dinner, and I'd fall asleep on the couch before I put them to bed. But yeah, it was a pretty tough time. But I look back at that and I know because of those experiences, I've been able to build what we have today.
So you went and talked to people, you knocked on doors, you cold called people. Did you call FSBOs and expireds as well?
I did. I didn't find great success in that. I did get a little bit of success, but the one thing that I really doubled down on was the neighborhood I lived in. I built a farm, and funny enough, the neighborhood was called Old Farm. And it consisted of about 1,300 doors. And it was a neighborhood that I grew up in. And I just literally knocked those doors, handing out flyers. And the one success that I had in building a community within that neighborhood was I started doing a community garage sale. And I'd heard about it from someone else that was doing it when I was going to college in Fort Collins. There was some agents that were doing it there, and I thought it was brilliant. So basically, what the gist of it was, I would literally door knocked all the doors with the flyer saying, hey, we're going to be doing this garage sale in July. I would do it a month ahead of time, so I had time to knock all the doors. And because I didn't have money to send postages for them to sign up, I literally was just door. I had enough money to print flyers and walk. So the first couple of years, that's how I distributed it. It kind of evolved over the years where we would mail them a sign up form. And, this was before the internet really blew up and you could email and build out forms. So now it's a lot easier, a lot more cost effective. But I was like the mayor of this little neighborhood, and I would organize this community garage sale. And the kicker, why people wanted to be involved, was because we were donating any money that we received from it to the local children's hospital. So people would pay us $20 to be put in a little 8.5 by 11 flyer. They could advertise a one-liner of what was featured in there. in their driveway. And any money that they paid us, we just gave all of it to the Children's Hospital. We would set up a canopy at 2 entrances in the neighborhood, and we'd have first out was my wife and some of my kids were there just hanging around, and then we had our lender, a preferred lender that was helping us in the very beginning. So it was like there wasn't many of us, but as it evolved, our whole team got involved, and we would stop traffic at the entrance of these neighborhoods to hand out these guides, and then we would say, oh, by the way, we're raising money for the Children's Hospital. So I don't know, we probably raised between $1,000 and $2,000 every garage sale for the Children's Hospital. But there were some people that really liked the idea that we tied it to a local charity. And so during the year between the garage sale, we did it once a year. I would continue to knock the neighborhood, and I started listing a ton of homes in that neighborhood. So, that was one of the ways I was able to grow my business while I was growing my SOI. I was building the farm, and I was door knocking.
So you basically have done what we term here when we coach and train our agents and mentor them. We use a 0 to 60 approach. Spend $0, and as your business starts growing, then you can ramp up. You can use the word scale if you want, but you ramp up to actually spending a couple of dollars up to 60. But 0 to 60 means two things. Number one, spending $0 and making it all the way up to that 60 or more, and also spending $0 and then ramping up as you build your business and spending a couple of bucks. So it makes an awful lot of sense. You knew you didn't have money to invest, but you invested this sweat equity, which people have heard all about, rather than check equity. How long did it take you, Jay, when you built your business and started building through this great idea of the garage sale? How long did it take you to get to a point where, okay, I can start putting money behind what I'm doing?
It only took a couple of years because I teamed up with my dad that first year. And he said, you're going to do your own business, book a business, but we can share an office. The second year, we had a colleague who had a team back in the 90s, which was kind of unheard of, told us to team up. So the second year was a little bit different because I handled all the buyers. My dad handled all the listings. In the third year, I basically made a decision to go to my own, which he wasn't too happy about, but he understood it. So that was about the time when things started to take off because I had been building my SOI for the first 2 years, and we were able to invest a little bit of money where we were able to start sending out like some flyers in the mail, some postcards, invest a little bit into leads, but not a ton. But it was over that first, I would say, 5 years. I was a solo agent. I went from 0 transactions to about 60 transactions just on this premise of, using my time versus money. Where at that point, that's when I actually started growing a team in about 2009.
I think it's really important for us to reiterate some things about your life because you went from 0 to 60, you ramped up in a couple of years. Does that make sense to talk about that?
Sure.
So here's what I mean. You had 2 children at home. This was the business you had to make. You were working, you were working 12, 16 hours a day in the beginning, I guess, right? And even when it went forward.
Yeah, easy.
Right?
Like 6-7 days a week. Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of different ways that people can do this. And one of the things that I see today, Jay, is I see a lot of people, saying where there's a will, there's a way. Is that how you looked at it?
Yeah, I burned my freaking boats, man. I'm all in. Like, I'm not doing anything else. Working for someone else just was not my DNA. I'm pretty stubborn. I like to run the businesses the way I like to run my business. And I don't mind working 80 hours a week if I get compensated for my time and I choose to work 80 hours a week. So I knew the money that I could make in this business would be far surpass whatever salary I could somewhere else. And I would be limited in my ability to take care of my family income wise. So I just knew I had to get it done. Like, there was no other option. Like, in my mind, there was no other options. I was either going to die or I was going to be successful in real estate.
I tell you what, when it comes to new agents, when they want to build their business, just like you wanted to build a business and you burned your boats. If people don't understand that, it's a phrase that you should look up because it really says you have no other choice. You either survive or you don't, right? And you will survive, right? So, I mean, it demonstrates the life that you had to live. It demonstrates what you had to do in order to build your business and to build a life for not only yourself but your kids and their future as well.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, you started building a team. Talk to me about how that evolved.
Yeah. Well, what you just said reminded me of a quick story.
Good.
So people look at my wife and I now and go, oh my gosh, you guys are so great, and it's so easy for you, and you guys probably don't know what it's like to struggle. Well, when I first got into the business, and I think I shared this with you the other day, Dave, is I was able to purchase a home when I moved back to Colorado Springs. And when I was a single dad, there was a time where I got a notice they were going to shut my utilities off in the middle of the summer with my two boys. So like, I literally know what it's like to not be able to pay your bills, to now, have a thriving business. So I just let people know, hey, you gotta, I was all in, and people were saying, you're insane, you should just go get a normal job. I said, no, I know I can do this. I know I can do this. And I just kept persisting. So burn your boats, be all in. If they turn your utilities off, are you going to die? No, you'll figure it out. So looking back at it, yeah, 0 to 60, I was a solo agent. In 2009, it was about this, again, the summer months, because those tend to be a little bit busier, more sales occur here in the summer. I had worked a 2-week stretch. And at that time, I had found my beautiful bride. I had been married for almost 3 years. So I was not a single dad. I was only a single dad from about 2003 to 2006. But my beautiful bride had supported me and raised those two boys. And now we have 4 more children. So we have 6 kids. But in 2009, I came home from work at about 9:30 at night. And it had been 2 weeks straight of me coming home between 9 and 10 p.m. She was in the kitchen on a computer. And I looked at her and I said, hey, what are you doing up on the computer? She said, this was a Friday. She goes, I have 2 interviews set up for you on Monday. And I said, what, for a real job? She goes, no. She used to be a recruiter for Fortune 500 companies in Texas. So she knew how to hire and recruit and find talent. She said, no, I have 2 interviews for you on Monday for an assistant because this is unacceptable. And I said, well, we can't afford an assistant. She goes, well, can you afford a divorce? I said, good point. She's like, you pick one of those 2 candidates on Monday. I've put them through the ringer. They've interviewed with me twice. You're going to pick one. So I said, okay, I'm going to trust we can do this. Again, I was afraid to spend money to leverage myself. So I went in, interviewed both of them, picked one, started her out on part-time, but within 6 weeks, she was full-time. And we were able to go immediately that year from like 60 transactions to 70 transactions, and that trajectory continued to go upwards. So I started learning about leveraging my time through systems and through people. And in 2010, we hired our first buyer's agent. We did this out of necessity. It's not like I had this idea that we were going to grow this big team and just started, borrowing money to hire a bunch of staff and just bringing on a bunch of random agents. It was like I didn't have time to take care of all the leads that I was generating through the business. So we just kind of grew the team naturally. Now, I know some people have business plans and models to just launch a team or a brokerage right out of the gate, and that works for some people. But for me, it was just more out of necessity because I didn't want to lose any of the leads. And I thought, how can I create, opportunity for another human being to be successful in this business? So that's how it started in 2010. In 2012, we sold over 100 homes with me and one other buyer agent. And so we celebrated that. And since then, we've sold about 125 to 150 homes per year for over a decade. And through that, we've just honed our systems and processes and grown that way.
So if you would, Jay, talk to me a little bit about the systems that you needed to put in place for you to be able to grow and scale your business up to where it is today. I mean, you had to start with something. And you just said you had to figure out how to leverage your time through systems and other things. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, and so systems. So I was handling, like, just for example, that garage sale situation that took hours and hours to do.
Yes.
So I just paid an admin to start taking care of the administrative tasks, and I had been working with a coach. And by the way, for those that are watching, if you don't have a coach or a mentor, you need one, because that's my critical key to my success in life is I've probably had a half a dozen different coaches and mentors. And, currently I'm coached with John Cheplack, and, that's how Dave and I kind of met, through Bill Pipes and John Cheplack. But just find somebody that's been where you have been, or they're coaching people where you have, where they want to go, where you want to go. So I'd learned to calculate my dollar per hour activity. And
Wow.
so, I mean, maybe you've heard this before, maybe you teach this, David. Okay, if I sold 60 homes, and back then the average commission might have been $6,000, so $360,000, and I'm going to work 2,000 hours a year. I'm going to take some time off, not work as many weekends or go on vacations. How much is your time worth? And I went, oh, back then my time was worth like 150 or 200 bucks an hour. And is it worth printing flyers, taking stuff to the post office, doing administrative tasks? And so then the light bulb went off. Okay, I just need to expand that. So I started hiring different assistants as we grew. And then I started going, well, is it really worth my time to be driving all over the city to be showing 27 homes to find one deal, when I have agents that, if I can generate a lead, I'm earning my part of the commission by providing the systems, the training, the opportunities for the agents, where they can do what they're good at, is sell homes. So that's when we started hiring buyer's agents, and I handled the listings. And then as we continued to grow, we built systems out on actually tracking the transactions, because if you don't have a system from when you go under contract to closing, it's a nightmare. And so we wanted to create a systematic process. So if a client worked with us multiple times, it would be the same process, almost like a franchisable model. So we started that on the administrative side, and we built out a system, and then we broke it out when we had multiple admins. Each admin was responsible for a different piece of the transaction.
Right.
Then we did that to the listing side. So we started out on the buy side and the administrative team building systems. And the last piece that we put into place as far as production was the listing side. And so now we have a whole series of systems. Now we have like operations manuals that our team members have put together that we constantly update. And as an individual agent, I would encourage you to systemize your processes. Sit down on a piece of paper and write down, what is your process? Do you have a process? Do you just wing it? If you don't have a process, document it, whatever that is. If you do have a coach, a lot of coaches and mentors will share their systems. We have a mindset of abundance. And, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. We're happy to share what we're doing here at Finch and Gable in Colorado. But you got to document your process to be efficient. You can build your systems through those processes.
So when you talk about transaction tracking, was that basically from a transaction coordination standpoint, or is that something other than that?
Yeah, pretty much transaction coordination. And quite frankly, back then there wasn't. Now it's a whole industry into itself, is transaction coordinating. There's software, so there's that. But back then it was kind of like, you've been in the business a while. It was just like a bunch of cowboys out there just winging it. And some people had systems, some people didn't. There wasn't processes. It wasn't like you could just go find someone that was a transaction coordinator. Most agents were their own transaction coordinators, unless they had a broker that had a really good administrative staff that would assist in that. And many of them don't. Many of them today don't. So a lot of that's been outsourced. But if you want to start out of the gate, you can hire a transaction coordinating company anywhere from $300 to like $800 transaction. But if you don't have that, create a system.
Exactly. So I want to recap a couple of things. Number one, build the database. Number two, make sure you have processes and systems in place as you move forward, so things get done a lot easily.
Yeah.
Then start leveraging your time with these systems to be able to build or grow however much you want to. And I think one of the things that a lot of people don't get, they hear what I just said, to build and grow. A lot of people, Jason, want to stay where they are. They want to keep doing what they're doing. Well, I tell you what, talk to either one of us, and we'll show you how to spend half the time doing that through their systems and processes. And that's another way to grow. Might not be more money, it might not be more transactions, but how about more time? It's one thing we don't have enough of.
Yeah,
right?
Someone might be listening and saying, I don't want to sell 100 homes a year. That's crazy.
Exactly.
So if you're selling 30 or 40 homes a year, or even 20, and that's your happy place, what if you could sell 20 homes a year, like you said, in 15 to 20 hours a week? Then you could spend the other half of your time playing golf or being with your kids or grandkids or traveling or whatever you want. In fact, I know agents that travel like literally 6 to 8 weeks out of the year all over the world, and they're solo agents, and they have teamed up with other agents in their brokerage to cover their business. Like it doesn't have to be, I want to sell 5,000 homes this year. So there's, and that systems. And then, the final piece, if someone does want to sell more, is to leverage people, take care. Like the whole idea for us is abundance. We want to make sure that the people that come work with us are taken well care of, and that they have a lot of opportunity to grow their business within our business as well. But yeah, definitely get the database together, put your systems in place. And then once you have your systems in place, then you can line people up to help you grow it even further.
Yeah. And I want to make one other point too. I mean, there's a lot of people, and I met one this week that believes that they can get their license and all of a sudden they're going to make $500,000 this year. You know something? It's possible. It is possible.
Yeah.
Likely? I don't know. It all depends on you. But here's the most important thing. Jason, you said it took you a couple of years to really build a database up. And I want to talk a little bit quickly about, my process and what I'm doing. My objective is to grow a team, to grow people, right? And we've heard the expression that you need good people in good places. Some people use the expression, well, you can't find any good help today. Yes, you can. You just have to be patient and know where to look, which is what you and I have been able to do. So the important part is to be able to look at a time frame of how you want to build your business. So for me and my Modern Engine team that I'm building now, it's about me really being in the trenches with the agents and helping them build their business and building other leaders, right? My systems are building leaders aside from all the other systems we talked about. And it has already started. We lost Jason. I hope Jason comes back. But anyway, we're talking about building leaders, and how we basically do that is with the Modern Engine team. We're going to give Jason a couple of minutes to come back. I don't know what happened. So he's coming back in, had a technical problem, but here I am. I'm talking about systems and processes, right? So the Modern Agent team, you see on the bottom, do a quick commercial for that. Check out modernagentu.com. It's a great way to grow your business. It's our brand new university. We are working on and working with and building. There's some great stuff there. So we want you to look at the modernagentu.com. This way you can get some information on how to build a business, either the way Jay and I were just talking about, or another way. And Jason is back. So Jason, that was a good time. I did a quick commercial for my modernagentu.com, my new university, which we just launched. So, we were talking about leveraging, we're talking about building a business and growing a business, and not growing necessarily in numbers, but growing in time. So that's what we were talking about. Thank you for coming back on quickly.
Yeah, apologize for the delay there. My computer shut down, but hey, we have backups here. So Dave's a professional here, so that's awesome. But yeah, we definitely, growth is important. And I've always thought, if you're not growing, you're dying. And like Dave just said, it doesn't need to be in dollars. It doesn't need to be in transactions. It can be in time. It could be in learning new skills in other businesses. I know some people that excel in multiple businesses. In fact, Dave just interviewed Keith Pike, who owns like 4 or 5 different businesses. And, it just depends on what do you want. And I think you have to decide what you want before you get into this business, because this business will eat you up. If you decide you're going to try out real estate, well, it doesn't try, you don't try it, tries you out. So you really have to know what you want, number one, before you get in and make a commitment and burn your boats. Yeah.
So I want to talk more about that, right? So we're in December of 2022. We've seen the every 2 or 1 or 2 decade anomaly happen, but this was more of an anomaly based on, COVID and all that nonsense. And we saw people buying houses like crazy. We saw people down renovating houses like crazy because the DIY industry went nuts. Right. And you see Lowe's and Home Depot going like crazy, but nobody talks about that. People did a lot of work on their houses, and it was great for business and economy. So not only did the government put money into the business, into the economy, but the people took that money and did something and did good investments. Some of them lowered their credit rating. Their credit balance, right? But
Mhm.
we need to look at what's happening in the real estate industry today, in the real estate business. So, Jason, I say to you, I'm going to ask you a really good question here, big question for real estate agents that are struggling a bit now. And this is really important all through any industry at all different times. We had good market, we had a steady market before. Now we're slowing down a bit for a lot of reasons, but still moving forward. What would you say and what would you tell a new agent, a stuck agent, a frustrated agent, an agent that did great over the last 2 years and now realize they don't know what they're doing?
This is great because we just had a big meeting, a sales meeting at our office here, and this is exactly the conversation we had. We said, the market has shifted; it's become a professionals market. So we have experienced agents struggling a little bit. We actually have brand new agents that started 2 months ago. So, and we've got 4 more new agents starting in January. So we re-rolled out an old program called our Top 50, and basically what it is, it's a spreadsheet we've put together that has January through December like columns, and you have to do one activity with each SOI a month. So it tracks those relationships, and it comes down to building relationships. Dave, you've been able to survive. I've been able to survive. 20 years in the business. Dave's been in the business since like real estate was invented, like my dad.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to steal a Glenda Baker line. I've been in business since Jesus was a baby.
There you go. I mean, so we don't stay in this business and remain successful going through multiple recessions and real estate downturns without knowing what to do. And I guarantee you, in 2023, it's all about building relationships. For me, it's about building relationships with agents, and as I grow and scale my brokerage and the different office locations that we're headed to. For a real estate agent, it's about building the relationship with the people that already know, like, and trust you. And if you're brand new to the business, or we've had agents that join our brokerage that they've never lived in this town before. So we had a training session last week on how do you build your SOI for an hour. We discussed it. So real estate's about people. People purchase homes for a lot of emotional reasons because it's the number one need is shelter. Also, for those that are savvy, that have extra funds to purchase investment properties, it's the number one thing to build wealth. I have a doctor, a friend of mine, who I tried to talk to him buying real estate for the last decade. Over 10 years ago, he said, no, I'm going to put my money in the stock market. Well, about 4 years ago, he agreed to test the waters out and buy one property. Well, before that first property closed, he had the real estate bug. He bought 6 properties in 18 months. And he called me back last May and said, Jason, I just want to thank you. My net worth is now $1 million more than it was. And I wish I would have listened to you 10 years ago. So it's just building the relationships with the people and leveraging. It's not about leveraging it for our own need. It's like we're helping people. We're helping people achieve the American dream to own a piece of America, own their own home. And we're helping create, if we're helping people invest in real estate, we're helping them create wealth, not just for themselves, but generational wealth. There's a lot of money, and real estate has been very, very good to my family, to my father and his investments, for my personal family, my wife and I, my kids. My son's 24 and he just bought his first property. So, it's about relationships. I think we got away from the basics when the market got so hot. It was like fish just jumping in the boat. And now we got to go fishing and build that relationship with people.
Yeah, and I really need to say this because you said this is a relationship business. The question was, what should new agents do? Stuck agents, frustrated agents, agents that want to grow, what should they do? And your response was relationships, build relationships. I'm going to say that the interesting part about this, Jason, and you know this as well as I do, this never changed.
No.
It's always been about relationships. Now, I will tell you that years ago it was a little bit different because if you were a real estate agent, especially in the Century 21 days, well, you wore a gold jacket and people knew you were a real estate agent. People say the gold jacket made them a lot of money. Well, not anymore. But the thing is that the gold jacket was replaced by social media. How about that? We just make it a lot easier, right?
Oh, yeah.
Social media is very important. And where are we right now? We're on social media and we're building a relationship with our industry as we broadcast, this show, right? So it's all about relationships. It's all about the time you put in. We also talked about the time, and it can take 2 years. As I started talking, was basically that I'm building a business based on a plan that takes me 2 to 5 years. We talked about building a business to save you time and to give you more time back. Look, man, I want my time. I want to play golf a couple times a week, not just once. I want to be able to travel and stuff, and by doing what I'm doing, I mean, I had a number of years to do all that. And I decided, you know what? I want to get back in the game and help more people, help more people, help more people, right? So building a team, working with agents, teaching agents. You talked about your new program with what is it? Not your new program. You brought out an old program, and they have to talk to their top 50 once a month. Is that correct?
That's right. So we created a system that's really easy for agents to follow. In fact, if you reach out to me, I'm happy to share our template with you. It's in a Google sheet. It has 50 rows. You put your top 50 contacts. That could be anyone that knows, likes, and trusts you, but the top 50. So, for experienced agents, if they've sold, 100 homes over their career, they're going to pick just the top 50. It could be family members. It could be someone that's never bought a house or sold a house from me, but if they've sent you a referral, they're more apt to send you another referral. So pick in your gut instinct of who you think are going to either refer you business or do business with you in the next 12 months, put them on the list. And once a quarter, you need to meet with them in person, whether that's lunch, a coffee, you pop by their work, pop by their home once a quarter. And then in between the months that you're not seeing them in person, you can write a handwritten note, make a phone call, send a DM message. Now you referenced social media. You can absolutely leverage that, but I see agents doing it wrong all the time. They just put posts out there of, in front of a home that's being sold, and they think that people are just going to call them. That's part of it, letting people know you're in the business. But the real work, if you're going to use social media, because a lot of people say, I don't want to make phone calls, I'm just going to be on social media. Those agents don't cut it unless they're making the phone calls with that and then actually personalizing it in social media. So on Facebook or Instagram, they're sending them a direct message, a DM. They see, that it's their birthday, they'll send a video text or a video in that DM. So the more personalized you can make social media, the better it's going to work for you. But yes, those type of posts, handwritten notes, something once a month, and a text message and an email doesn't count, because a lot of agents are like, oh, I sent them an email or a text message. That doesn't count. On top of that, as a company, what we do here in our team at Finch and Cable, I send out a weekly video with something of value, like John teaches every week. So everyone's sphere gets a video from our company highlighting local businesses, real estate trends. We take a lot of the heavy lifting on the social media for our agents. That's one of the benefits for being on our team. We take a lot of that heavy lifting up, but we expect them to really put in the personal touch because it's their sphere. So they're getting a postcard in the mail from us every month. So they're getting over 50 touches from the company, but then the agent ramps it up and gives them 12 more personal touches. And our goal in 2023 is to generate 35% or more of our business by referrals, because guess what, Dave? It's a lot less expensive than buying leads, new contacts. It's not as economical.
That is one of the things that I've always said when I have my brokerage and now is do you want to chase people down or you want to talk to people you know?
Right. And you think someone's going to trust you or your agent that's off the internet, or are they going to have some skepticism because they don't know them, versus if someone that the agent's already built that relationship with, they're easy to work with. You'll have to show them less homes. They're going to go along with the process because they trust the process, where if you just get random cold call, door knocking, or internet leads, they're going to have a lot of skepticism, and it's going to be a little bit difficult transaction. So that's how I teach the agents. That's how you're going to be able to play more golf or take more vacations, is work with people that trust you, right? And so it all comes together full circle.
The whole idea of everything is to work with people that know, like, and trust you. And that phrase is like, if we're going to hear that forever, I mean, we're going to be long gone, and that's still going to be said. I don't care if we're doing things, virtually in a space pod or whatever we're doing in the future. But it's all about the relationship. So, I also want people to know that, social media is a big part of what we do for our sphere of influence. And what I mean by that is, if you're on social, if you've got a good presence, it's part of your marketing plan. Now, let's face it, Jay, a lot of people get in this business because they want to make people happy, want to see people, work with people. They like people and they like houses, right? They don't think that they need to work things and everything else. That would be, correct me if I'm wrong, a great buyer agent, right? Because they want to show homes. But if you want to be in this for everything and really build a business, social media is important. The sphere of influence is important, along with other forms of business. But sphere of influence is really where it starts, right?
Oh yeah, I hear this all the time when we're interviewing agents. We actually interview agents. We don't just hire anyone that has a license and can fog a mirror. So we ask, why did you want to get into the real estate business? I love HGTV. I love people, and I like the idea of having an unlimited income and a flexible schedule. Like, I kid you not, like there's some sort of script I think that these people get it, to sign up for real estate school. Like 90% of the time I hear 3 or 4 of those bullet points. They love HGTV, they love people, they like the idea of unlimited income and a flexible schedule. So it's true. It's a double-edged sword. You can work 80 hours a week or you can work 10 hours a week, but you can't have unlimited income off 10 hours a week when you're brand new in this business unless you leverage yourself through people or systems. But it's just hilarious to see I guess, through social media and through the media itself, a lot of people have a misperception of what being a real estate agent really is. And a lot of people don't understand the work behind the scenes that we do. And so it can be a rude awakening for a lot of people if they don't talk to the right mentors or coaches before they get into the business or when they're starting to build their own company or their own team or whatever their goal is.
So if you had one thing to say to agents that they can do to build their business as a solid base. So we've talked about it today, right? So we're running up on time. If there was one thing that you could say to someone that they're struggling, let's use that. They're struggling, they're frustrated. They did really well in 21 and did crap in 22. What would you say to them? What would you tell them to do?
If they had literally 30 to 60 days to get a deal in, I would tell them to pick up the phone and call everybody they know, just right now, today. Everyone's got everyone stored on their phone. Literally just pick up the phone today, wish them a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, just thinking about you, how are you doing? And at the end of the conversation, go, I'm here to help you with any of your real estate needs. Is it okay if I follow up with you in the new year? And then follow up. Literally, there's probably 2 or 3 transactions in someone's phone right now. It's that simple.
Jason, I couldn't have scripted that response better. I couldn't have, because that's really it. Talk to people. We said that at the beginning of the pandemic. We said it after the pandemic. Well, I guess it's still here, but whatever, I was thinking about you, a lot of things you can say to start to get their attention, but that's it. Jay, we've had a great conversation here today. And the great part about you and I is we get to talk to each other every day, and we do talk to each other almost every day. And it's just a treat to have you on this broadcast. And how do people get in touch with you? We have your stuff scrolling, so just tell people how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, the easiest way is if you just go to Instagram, Jason Daniels COS. You've got my email there. You can send me an email as well. I don't always check my email. Sometimes my staff does, but I do check my Instagram messages, so shoot me a message there. I'm happy to share any of the systems or tools that I use here. We have a mindset of abundance. I'm happy to share that. So just reach out to me if there's something I can help you with. But yeah, sometimes it might take me a couple of days to get back to you because I'm running several different businesses as well. I do some real estate developing. I don't think we talked about that, Dave, but yeah, if you just give me a couple of days to get back to you, I'm happy to help.
Great. And I just want to add one thing before we go, which about the broadcast here, Real Estate Talk TGIF. As you know, today is December 23rd. Next week, our show will be December 30th. And we've got what I call the fantastic NJ4 going to be on here. It's going to be 4 of the top real estate minds in the state of New Jersey. And that is, of course, myself, Brett Sikora, Sekou Pyle, and Mark Stein, all people I work with on a daily basis. We're going to talk about the year. We're going to talk about what's next. And we're going to move forward with that and just have a blast. Jason, I have 2 things left to do. One is the most important question of this broadcast, and that is, how do I help you grow your business?
Just if you know anyone looking to buy or sell a home in Colorado, or we're growing our company into other states. So if you know anyone that wants to change the real estate industry in a new way, learn more about Finch and Gable, starting in Colorado and other Western states, reach out, let me know. We're looking to grow and we're looking to scale.
Awesome, man. And last but not least, most people know what I'm going to do now. And this is the real reason you came on the broadcast, even though we talk to each other every day. You probably get sick of looking at me, but it's the hat. The hat is right here. The hat's coming, man. You're going to need it because it's cold out there, right?
Yeah, I've got a hat collection, and that's going to be my new prized possession, Dave. It really is.
Great. So you're in Colorado Springs. What's the temperature today?
The temperature when I got into the office here was 11 below with the wind chill, about 20 below.
So in New Jersey, it's right now about 45 degrees, and by tomorrow morning at this time, it will be 8. So
Wow.
we're gonna have a big change, but not as cold as your place. Jason, thank you so much for being on the broadcast. Please just hang out for a minute at the end. We'll finish up. Everybody, don't forget next week we will be here as we are every week, and we got the fantastic New Jersey 4 coming on with you next week. Thanks everybody for being here. Have a Merry Christmas, a happy Hanukkah, a happy Kwanzaa. Just rock your holiday, rock whatever you want to do. Just enjoy it. And God bless you all.